Okay, so my name is Brianna Parker. I'm the founding curator for the Black Millennial Cafe. And it's been my hope that I could not just spend time consulting about millennials or researching millennials for new data, but that I could do something that would benefit millennials. So this is what I created called the Millennial Life Institute. And every month, every last Saturday of the month, we'll bring in specialists or experts in certain fields or people who have just done really well figuring things out to help us kind of like adult, right? Because sometimes we get stuck adulting because things can be pretty difficult to learn on your own. And sometimes by the time we learn them, we feel like, oh man, I wish I would have known this like years ago. Investing is something that I wish I would have known years ago. I didn't have a whole lot of money though, but I could have put something in somewhere. But I didn't because I didn't know any better. And so that's what we're talking about today: money, investing. We're gonna talk about cryptocurrency a little bit so we can understand at least what it means. And so if you have any questions, go ahead and ask them. And share this with your friend. Feel free to share the link with your friend. We're also gonna go live in a few seconds on social media, but I'm gonna put the link right here that you can go ahead and send to your friends if they want to join us live. Okay, thanks so much. And Robin, you're on.
Hey guys, how are you doing today? First and foremost, thank you for coming back. Who'd have thought that talking about investments and making money would make people so happy and excited to actually listen and talk and join this meeting today or this presentation today. So thank you guys for coming back. Last time, I think we had a blast. We had a lot to cover, and we actually were able to talk through some of the things to get us out of debt, through debt, and then how to grow our money. But we kind of got rushed at the end on how to grow our money. So what we're gonna do now is kind of really circle back on that area and dive into what it means to grow money versus just keeping your head above water. So that's our focus for today. Brianna, you have the presentation. Is there a way that you can bring it up so everyone can see it?
I can.
Thank you, Fran.
You're very welcome. Here we are. Does that work?
Yeah, so I'm viewing your screen. Do I need to present?
Oh, maybe you should, because I took my screen off for a second. Hold on. I can if you want me to. Which one is best for you?
Well, this way, if I do it, then that means that means I can control, so you don't have to worry about me.
But then they won't see you, I believe.
Oh, remember last time we had both?
Oh, we did?
Yeah, we were able to see each other.
Tell you how. Okay. You can go ahead and share then. I'll share until you're caught up. Oh, see.
What's happening, friend? Okay, well then I'll let you do it. Okay. So great guys. So what we're talking about today is don't stay broke, and this is the part 2 of it, the really diving deep edition, right? So Brianna, go ahead and go to the next slide. So here we are, a month later, and the question is, are you still broke? The answer is probably yeah, likely. And not in a bad thing, right? It took you a long time to get to this position. So in 30 days, you're not gonna reverse everything that has been done or everything that you've gone through. What you will be doing now is you'll be able to, hopefully in the last 30 days, you will have been able to grow some discipline in areas, use some of the tips and tricks or tools that I've told you about, so that you're moving from a place of dysfunction financially to functioning financially, okay? So let's talk about it. What was our homework from last time? Next slide, Bree. All right, so our homework review, right? So remember we said last time we wanted to do some 4 short-term goals, right? We wanted to write goals out, something that you can accomplish in 21 days, 3 weeks. And the areas that I told you about were financial, personal, spiritual, and professional. Next slide. So what does that look like, right? So financially, I want to save $200. That's something that is attainable and accomplishable in a 21-day trial. I wanted to work out every day. That's something that is also accomplishable in a 21-day trial, right? All of these things are things that are possible and plausible, just depending on the type of discipline and commitment that you personally chose in your life. So for me, I did write down my goals, and I met 2 out of 4 of those goals. Unfortunately, I didn't reach every goal that I had set out for myself, but I was able to accomplish some of the ones that I wrote down. Bree, the presentation went away.
I know. I'm working on something. Do you need it right now?
I mean, yeah.
Okay, I'll be back and forth for a second then. You should know that while I work on something. Can you see it now?
Yeah. So do you want me to present?
Maybe so. Because I need to talk to people. I can't do that while I work at PowerPoint.
Okay, that's perfect. That's fine.
Okay. You're good?
Yeah. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yep, let me make sure mine is off. Okay, go ahead.
Great. So everybody can see my screen?
Yeah, but it's not in presenter view yet. Just go right here at the bottom, right? You see where it has this little, oh, she said she sees it. Presenter view is gonna be that, you know what I mean? That little projector thing, if you go to the bottom right, it's gonna be to the left of that little scale.
Yeah, I'm presenting. I don't know why you guys aren't seeing it.
Oh, wait, no, I don't see presenter view.
What about?
There it is. Yep.
Okay, perfect. I was sharing the wrong screen. Sorry, guys. All right, so the homework. So these were the things that I laid out for myself. The funny thing is I was able to reach 2 of my 4 goals. So I saved $200. I actually saved more than that, and we'll talk about that later. But that was my goal, to save $200 more than what I normally save. And there's a reason for it. And then my personal goal was to work out 9 times, which I did, and I feel really good about. I actually worked out 12 times in the last 21 days. He's not on this, but thank you, Reggie, because he actually gave me the push to do the additional 3 times while he visited me. My spiritual disappointing, because I did not tithe every Sunday this month. While I did tithe at my church, I didn't do it every Sunday like I set out to do, because what I wanted to be able to do was give beyond, and I didn't reach that goal. But one of the things that I did to kind of make up for it, or want to make up for it, is I gave my money and my time in additional areas, and some areas that I'm very passionate and personal to me. Well, not necessarily personal, but I'm very passionate about, such as the homeless population in Dallas, Texas. I also work in Vermont, so I'm traveling there, and I'm able to give back to those in that community. But I didn't reach that goal. Another one, a professional, was read a book on my career path. I did not reach that goal either, which is something that is very disappointing, because this year I said that I was going to read more books. I wanted to educate myself, especially in my career path, because I want to grow to the next level in the next 4 years substantially, because I'm a mid-30 something, and this is, they say statistically that from 35 to 45, you have the most earning potential in your lifetime. So I want to be very well prepared so that I can reach or go into my 35, 45 range, making as much money as I can, so that I don't have to work until I'm 80 years old with no retirement or no investments that are helping me substantially from there. So what I did instead of reading a book on my career path is that I outlined some goals, not only for my current career path, but also for the other career paths that I want to go in, my quote unquote side hustles, my investment, my investments, ways that I can grow residual income, not that are from my primary source of income. So even I, who received homework and I gave it to myself, did not accomplish the homework like I thought I would. I didn't reach my goals, so I didn't expect everybody else out there to reach their goals. But last time, I asked people to write down their vision after they wrote down their goals. Because what those small 21-day goals will do is have a very strong financial, spiritual, emotional, professional impact on what you can do 6 months, 1 year, 5 years from now, right? So how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And that's the same thing for your professional, spiritual, emotional, financial health. Just take small bites and you'll be able to move forward, right? So one of the reasons why I had people do this homework is so that they can start with a grain of salt so that they can grow their entire meal. And this past time, I'm not gonna lie, I was very, very disappointed in some of the homework that I got back. However, there was somebody who stood out substantially with her goals and what she was trying to do for the month. And she followed the rules like I asked, and she sent me her homework, and I'm going to be doing a follow-up with her for the next couple of weeks. Another thing that happened during this past month is that I've decided that, you know, those who really want to be serious about growing themselves financially, especially, and reach out to work with me, I'm going to reward that behavior. So Verna Williams, even though you didn't know, you have received or will receive a prize. I'm going to give you a $100 gift certificate to one of my favorite steakhouses. And I hope that not only gives you a good understanding of like, wow, if I write down my goals and I write down my vision and I pursue it, that good things happen to me, but also that as you write down your goals and you work towards achieving them, that other things or other people, such as myself, will reward you. For those who are watching today, or in the next week, that's the reason why I do 21 days, so you can also have an additional week from the next time that we may follow up. I am going to reward the next person who does their homework and submits it to me on time, okay? So at the end of this presentation, excuse me, I'll give out a little bit more homework. What you'll have to do, like any other professor, is that you have to go back and you have to do your homework right. So you have to write down the 6-month goals or the 21-day goal, excuse me, so that we can work towards our 6-month vision. You have to do that homework first, but you also will have the opportunity to do a part 2 homework that I'm gonna present at the end of this presentation, all right? So if you wanna be as lucky as Miss Verna Williams, congratulations, Verna, then all you have to do is submit your goals to me. I'll give you all of the information at the end of the presentation, all right? And we'll make sure to leave it up so that people have the opportunity to get those goals submitted and get their homework done. All right, so let's dive into it. So 4 weeks later, are you closer to your vision? Are you closer to your goals? Or did you stay still out of fear? This is a real thing, especially when we talk about finances. You see, a lot of people know that they get their check. They know that they have bills. They know that there are areas that they spend probably willy-nilly or at their leisure on. But to really have an understanding of how you're going to grow your money, you have to be able to work towards your vision and step out of that fear, step out of that zone of uncomfortableness, of not knowing where your money is really going, of not knowing how you spend your money, what your spending habits are. You want to move forward in really understanding what your financial goals look like, okay? So I want you to know this. You can live in fear. You can live in fear of your money. Your own bank account can make you fearful, but fear is a liar. The Bible says in 2 Timothy 1:7 that God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of sound mind, but of power, love, and of sound mind. In some translations, it says of self-discipline. And that is what we're going to get to today. Because having self-discipline, especially around, I mean, in every facet of your life will help you, but especially around your finances, because it'll help move you from bad habits to good habits to successful outcomes. Okay, so those are just 3 steps along the way that get you where you need to be, especially growing your money. All right, so just a recap of last time, we got to face the problem. The first thing that you have to do is remove debt from your life. Okay, so what were the 3 things, or what were the things that we said we needed to stop doing? We needed to stop creating debt. That's an easy one. I know it sounds like it's hard, but it's the easy one. You don't spend more money than what you have. A Dave Ramsey principle is every dollar has a destination. Every dollar that comes into your pocketbook, comes into your bank account, comes direct deposited. You hustle it. You got $20 that you loaned out to somebody, whatever. Every dollar that you have has a destination. So you can't dig yourself into a deeper hole by creating more debt if you really understand where every dollar goes. Okay. So first step, stop creating debt. Second step, slay one debt at a time. All you have to do is stay focused on the one debt or the biggest thing that you have in front of you, and really start working that down so that you can back off of creating more debt or having a particular debt take you under. Just put all of your money, all of your resources that you have available or that you have allotted for that particular debt, and attack it head on. And once you start seeing those debts fall off, you'll see the improvement in not only your financial outlook, but also your ability to have more credit, making yourself a credible lender, a credible lendee, and all of those different things. All right. Lower your interest rates or increase your lines of credit. If you have credit cards, and you should, that's another thing. You should always have a credit card, at least one. Having a credit card is not a bad thing as long as you do it responsibly. If you know that you are not responsible enough to have multiple credit cards, and you know this about yourself, so don't play dumb with me, right? If you know that having multiple credit cards is just not a thing for you, because having that allotment of credit is going to be something that is tempting you to buy a new car, buy a new bed, buy that purse you want, buy those shoes you wanted, then you don't need to have multiple credit cards. Absolutely. However, you need to have one credit card, period. Even if you get it and you cut it up, you need to have an established credit, an established line of credit. I know a lot of people will feel like that's kind of controversial because I just said stop creating debt, but having credit does not mean that you're creating debt. Having credit just makes you a credible lender, a credible debtor. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go in debt. You don't have to use that card, or even if you do, if you're being responsible enough to use it and only use it as necessary and pay it off. Jeez-a-loo, pay it off. Then you can have a credit card. That's not a problem. You just need to make sure that you're exercising what 2 Timothy 1:7 said. Discipline, self-discipline, right? Another side of that coin is you can also increase your line of credit. Also increase the minimal payments. That's something that we talked about last time. That was the trap that I set for myself. When I got my first credit card at the tender age of 18 years old, Discover gave me money, and who knew? And I thought that as long as I was paying the minimal payments, that I was meeting the needs of paying off that credit card. And that's just absolutely not true. Minimal payments alone will have you tripling, quadrupling paying the amount that was lended to you or given to you by credit. So you absolutely need to do something, I would say drastic if you have a substantial amount of debt, but at the very least, you can start increasing your minimal payments. So if your minimal payment is about $50, you can increase that to $100, and you've basically chopped in half whatever that debt was. Your minimum payments are meant to keep you on the system. Increasing those minimum payments will get you off. All right. And then another one was consider debt consolidation, a balance transfer, or a credit card settlement. All of these are kind of your last ditch attempts. I would say before I even got into any of those, credit consolidation, balance transfer, or credit card statements, or credit card settlement, excuse me, I would say look to see if there's a lender that has a lower interest rate than your current credit cards, and get that lender to loan you enough money to pay off those cards. Again, that takes self-discipline because the cards will still be there. And if you get a lender that will give you enough money to pay off your cards, and then you have zero remaining balance on your card, you can't forget that you now have a loan that needs to be paid back, even if it's at a lower interest rate, which is beneficial for you. You still need to know that that money needs to be paid off. It is still a debt, and you just need to be focused on making sure that, or focused and disciplined on making sure that you don't rack up the credit that you just got back or that you just got freed from. Debt consolidation programs are also kind of a last ditch attempt. I wouldn't consider that unless I was in a very dire situation. Balance transfers, that's an absolutely good thing because a lot of the cards that you'll be transferring it to will have a 0% APR for a particular amount of time. So I know tax season is right around the corner, or we're in the middle of tax season, and people are getting new cars and nice shoes and televisions, and their debt is still piling up. Do you want to be that person? I hope not. So what you should do is if you have debt, you should take all of the money that you get back, whatever additional income that you have, and go back to our first point, stop creating debt. Just eliminate as much of it as you can in one stop shop. Because let me tell you this, that TV hanging on your wall, as beautiful and as big as it is not worth another 5 years of being in debt, okay? So if there's an ability or if there's an opportunity to have a balance transfer and you can get 0% or even a lower APR on the balance that you have, definitely take it. And third, a credit card settlement. If you're drowning in debt, a credit card settlement is probably your best bet. And I mean drowning, like not I can doggy paddle, but I'm 3 feet under and I'm on my last breath. A credit card settlement will still reflect on your credit score negatively. And if you're trying to buy a house, or if you're trying to refinance a car, or if there's anything, especially like where I'm at now, trying to start a business where I may rely on credit to help get me places, or I use my credit card to actually pay off expenses, but I also have a reserve in cash that I pay off my credit cards with. But a credit card settlement, if it's the last ditch attempt, it'll allow you to basically pay less than what you initially owe. I mean, less than what you owe currently, but not less than what you actually spent. Does that make sense? So your credit card, it compounds with interest monthly. Some, depending on the card, which is absolutely crazy, will do it bi-monthly, which means the interest is accruing faster than what you normally would have. And people don't even know that because it's listed in the fine print. But so you've spent $500. Every month, your APR is increasing that $500 that you spent to $550, $625, $702, whatever your interest rate is. And it's just increasing, even though all you did was spend $500. Well, a credit card settlement will basically allow you to pay the $500 that you initially spent, plus a penalty of whatever the APR is, but you won't necessarily have to pay the most high or the most expensive portion of what your interest is. Because basically the credit card companies have already got the money out of you, and they know that it's what they're doing is a cross between predatory lending. Well, I won't say predatory lending. I think that may be a bit unfair. But what they know is they've already gotten their money from you, and that increasing the APR to basically keep you underneath this debt isn't necessarily the best for their interest as well, because at the end of the day, you could stop paying on it. You could say, I don't want to deal in credit anymore, and you could stop paying them, and then they're really out of luck. So a lot of times if credit card companies see some of their people struggling to stay above water or to pay that bill, they'll offer you a settlement. It does go against your credit score, so be careful if you choose that as an option. So that was just, being able to face the problem, a review of what we did last time, but now we're getting to the fun stuff. Let's grow your money. All right, there are 4 major ways to grow your money: save your money, secure your money, invest your money, and diversify your money. I'm gonna go through these areas, but what we really wanted to spend time on today was investing and diversifying your money, because that's where it's gonna get real. That's where it's gonna get tasty. That's where it's gonna get juicy, so that we can go from a place of being oppressed from our financial situation to growing and flourishing in it, okay? So first thing, saving your money. Have an emergency fund, 3 to 6 months, depending on what your spend habits are like. Make sure you have that with you. Having a small savings account and having the bulk of your money somewhere else. When we talk about diversifying and investing, I'm gonna get into that a lot. I have my emergency fund, which I don't touch, and then I have a small bank account, a small bank account, a small savings account. Not to say my bank account is large, because it ain't, but I have a small savings account, and anything outside of that savings and my emergency fund, I invest. I actively look for opportunities to invest in new products, stock, bonds, options, commodities, other people's dreams, goals, hopes, whatever it is. You should not keep money stockpiled somewhere, off into the universe, when that money has an opportunity to grow, even if it's in a small area. So we'll talk about that in much more depth later. Your company's 401k. If you have a company that has a 401k, perfect. You should match whatever money they're going to match. Or you should match whatever money they're going to contribute. So a lot of companies will do 3 to 5% of 401k match for their employees. So if your employer has a 3% match, then you should be matching at 3% to 4%, what they're matching. If you have debt, let me give myself an example. So currently, my company gives 5.5 matching. So I do 7% of my pre-tax income that goes into my company's 401k. So I give the 5.5 and another 1.5% of my pre-tax income to go into that saving, basically my retirement fund, right? But if I had debt, if I was still in a place of major debt, or I didn't have a control or understanding of what my finances look like, you really shouldn't contribute over what your company matches into your future. And I know that sounds counterintuitive, but let me tell you why. If you have a company 401k, they're just saying, I am rewarding my employee with money for the future when they retire, for them working for me now, giving good quality work, blah, blah, blah. But if you have debt, real live debt, in your current situation, what you should do is only say, hey, company, I appreciate you giving me this money. I'm going to match it so that my future grows exponentially as well. But you should not do a dime over your company's 401k as long as you have debt. Let me say that again. If you have debt, you should not contribute a dime over whatever your company matches to your 401k, because every dollar should go to paying off your debt. Every dollar should go to paying off your debt. Some investors are even more aggressive in that. They say that if my company is giving me 5% and I'm matching 5%, then every dollar that I make after that should go towards my investments, because my investments may yield a better return than what my company 401k is. All of that is really based off of what your company's 401k is like, what that match looks like for you, and if it's actually growing substantially. If you have an investment that'll actually do better, then don't contribute to the 401k in that way, or don't contribute excessive or in excess, funds to your company's 401k. You should use it somewhere else if the investment return is that much more greater. And then a personal Roth IRA. I love these things. I love a Roth IRA. And the reason why is because it gives you basically another savings account that actually grows quicker, better, faster than your current savings account. With a Roth IRA, you can put money in there. The money grows, it creates an interest, and you can withdraw off of the principal, the money that you put in, right? You can't touch the interest without having a penalty because of the type of investment account that is. But you can withdraw off of the principal, which is the money that you've put into the account after taxes. So that's basically free money, but the interest is not, right? The interest is something that you cannot touch. And the thing about a personal Roth IRA or Roth IRA is that it gives you another savings mechanism. If you have an emergency fund and an IRA, then you're pretty much set. You really don't need a savings account. A lot of times people will have an additional savings account just so they can have money that'll flow back and forth between those two accounts. Maybe I overdrew on, my household fund, and my savings account kind of saves me or keeps me in good standing there. But if you have a personal Roth IRA, that money is yours for the taking, and it still grows of substantial interest instead of what you would normally have. So that's the ways that you can save, or just some of the ways that you can save. This is essential to starting a really good nest egg, a level of comfort, a comfort zone in your financial situation. If you start with these 4 areas, I promise you, you will, a year from now, feel so much better about what you're able to do and contribute and move, or how you can move with your money. Savings is a really good start, and these are good mechanisms to do so in. I'm going to pause right here and take a look at our chat to see some of the questions that we've had come up.
I'm watching the chat, Robin, and one question is about what it means to transition from college to employment when you don't have a lot of money. Like, what are some early or small steps you can take while you're waiting to get the job that allows you to do more with your money? Oh, and we have 22 minutes left.
Yeah, so that's a really good question, Brianna. To the person that asked the question, the good thing about, and I know people get into this, well, I'm in college and I really can't save. That's a lie. You know what I mean? You don't have to have a $60,000, $100,000 job to start creating an investment, to start investing, to start creating a financial nest egg for yourself. If you are making like $10 an hour on a job, guess what? $10 an hour put away, you can still do some financial investments. You can still do some savings. And if you can't manage the money that you are making right now, you really need to take an examination. And that's one of the things that we talked about previously. you need to take an examination of where you're spending your money and how you're spending your money and what that means for you, maybe rolling back some, decreasing some of the financial responsibilities that you have. If that means you don't have cable, then that means you don't have cable. If that means that you got a lesser phone, or you don't get to shop as much or eat out as much, then that's fine too. But I think one of the things that students get caught up on is that they don't make enough money to invest or to save. And anytime you have a job, anytime you have finances or money rolling in, you have enough money to save. It's just smaller amounts, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's absolutely a good thing. I remember during my internships, I matched with my company's 401k, and that was just for summer. As long as the money was available, I was going to invest in it. I was going to invest with it. Don't think that your little money means that it can't grow into something big. I think that the best thing college students can do is create a budget and really say, what can I put away for my emergency fund, for a savings account, and for a personal IRA? And if you do that at a younger age, my goodness, that's probably one of the reasons why I'm so comfortable with my financial situation right now, is because I invested early. I invested young, and now those things 10, 15 years later are starting to pay off, and I didn't even know it. I didn't even realize that this money would be available to me or would be still growing and doing something, actually working for me. One of the first properties that I purchased was with my 401k money. Like, who knew, right? So those things are absolutely available to you. Don't think just because you're young, you don't have the ability or the financial acumen. Another side of that coin, and I'll move on after this, is that when you get older, your money goes other places, to the responsibilities, to the keeping up with the Joneses. When you're younger, those things don't matter as much. I don't need to drive a certain car. I don't need to go to certain places. I don't have 4 or 5 kids that have soccer and their teeth need to get done and new shoes every 5 years or every 5 minutes. As a child, or when you're younger, not as a child, excuse me, but when you're younger, you're able to do more with the little that you have than when you're older. So I would definitely encourage whoever gave that question to start now. Start as soon as you can. And even if it's $10 a month or $15 a month, that's fine. Put it into an account that'll work for you and watch it work for the rest of your life. I mean, you see a lot of 50-somethings just trying to get their retirement in order, and it's sad. So one of those people.
We have another question. What is a great way to save and eliminate student loan debt?
Oh, save and eliminate student loan debt. So saving is simple. Saving is just saying, I'm going to take X amount of dollars out of my paycheck and put it somewhere else. For me, the best way to save is actually something that we talk about on our next slide, mindless savings. Just put the money away and never even think about it. Like, I'm just going to put it over here and it automatically withdraws from my check. That's probably the best way to just start a savings. To me, start your emergency fund. Just put money away. Don't think about it. And just let it sit in another account that you even don't have a debit card for. Just let it sit somewhere else. And you'll see more often than not quickly that emergency fund builds up. So that's a good way of saving. Student loans. Student loans is the devil. In some way, shape, or form. I would say for your student loans, if there's a consolidation program that allows you to lower the interest rate, which the unfortunate thing is student loans, while they are a lot, if you got a student loan through the United States government, they'll probably giving you the best rate that there is out there. If you got one from an outside lender, they're not, but it still isn't absorbative. If you have a student loan that's over 10%, get it refinanced. If you have a student loan that's about 5 to 7%, unfortunately, in the climate that we're in right now, that's good, because that's not a high APR, and it's going to be very hard to beat that. Like, literally, there is no there are very few other ways to get that type of money for that percentage, for that interest rate. Like with the exception of a car loan. Car loans are typically like 1% or even less than that, depending on how good your credit is. But it's really hard to get student loans, the interest rates cheaper than what they are now. However, I would say research, see if there is a program that allows for student loan elimination, or if you have the ability to, and I know this seems like a bigger deal, but man, had I known then what I know now, if you have the ability to give 3 years of your life to a nonprofit organization or to a government entity, you can basically file to get your student loans removed, completely eliminated, because of the work that you're doing for the government or for a nonprofit entity. So if you have, or you think that that's something that you would be interested or okay with, I would say sacrifice those 3 years, especially while you're young, so that you can get, you know, good business opportunities, a good understanding of how to help in your community. But you can also eliminate your student loans if you're able to do a nonprofit or work for the government. Are there any more questions?
That's what we're gonna take for now because we only have 15 minutes. And
all right. Okay. So let's go to this. These are some of the things that I talked about. Don't go back to being broke, which means don't create more debt. Secure credit cards. That's something that we talked about last time. I won't talk about it here. Mindless savings. That's what I was saying earlier. Just take money and put it somewhere else. And then app it up. If you have more games on your computer, on your phone, and not financial apps, you're in deep trouble. You should be, and I'm not talking about just your Chase banking app or anything like that. You should have financial applications. You should have something that's telling you about these different investments, these different opportunities, because it absolutely helps. So make sure you get apps on your phone, finance apps that actually help you know what the market looks like, even if it's just as simple as like the Wall Street Journal that gives you insight to business moves or how companies are operating. One of my favorite apps right now is Robinhood, and it allows for you to do stock investments, commodities. It even now trades some cryptocurrencies on that platform. So you can buy it, you own it, you can sell it, and you get to grow it. One of the things that I did, because I was trying to get my feet wet in Robinhood, so I was trying to understand what I liked or didn't like about the app. I transferred, probably at the beginning of the presentation, not this one, but last one a month ago, I transferred about $300 into that account. And I'm going to show you guys what has happened in the matter of a month. $300, and I'll give you what I thought was good advice, but and $300 in a month, I don't know if you guys can see that, but I am up to $423, $424. That's an
so did you just arbitrarily invest in something, or did you have something you were like going after? Did you read something somewhere? Were you trying to not get high on your own supply, so you invested in weed? What you were doing?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. So I am
not getting high on your own supply.
No, yeah, definitely don't get high on my own supply, because that's stupid. And that's something else that we'll talk about, investings, right? So tangible assets. One of the commodities that I actually invested in on the Robinhood app was gold. I looked at some of the stocks that actually trade gold, or that's their primary holding, and it's a tangible asset. Like everybody rocks a piece and chain, right? So I don't, but you get what I'm saying, right? So you have tangible assets. If there's something that you're comfortable with, if it's gold, if it's pork bellies, if it's oil. Those are things that you can actually physically put your hands on, that people use, trade, diamonds, use, trade, and covet, sort of, in a sense. So that's one of the investments that I did on the Robinhood app, was gold. And I actually bought one of the good thing about the Robinhood app is that it gives you indicators that it tells you about the stock, or it tells you about the commodity. And then it gives you indicators on if you should buy, if you should hold it, if you should sell it, if you should trade options on it. Right now, I'm really digging this particular. I've done some other platforms, and they're good too. Like no shade to them, but Robinhood is just it's more intuitive, and I think for initial investors, this is probably a really good place to start.
I have one quick question. There's this website called Clio, and they kind of watch your spending and tell you things like, you spent this much money on food, and it'll kind of shade you a little bit and everything. Do you think sometimes it's good to get sign up for those kind of things, so that you're not just blowing money on fast food like this? Like, I've seen one person, I think they said, are you trying to put Burger King out of business because you spent $1,000 in McDonald's? Like sometimes you kind of need someone to remind you of what you're doing in the big picture, to know that you could have been doing better.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that I talk about later on.
Oh, my bad.
And no, you're good, in the homework. So I'll get to that. I'll get to that in a second. But we can go ahead and jump to it because we got some time. You need to learn your habits. You need to learn your money habits. And that's what I was talking about earlier, Brianna. Like, you know how you get your money and it feels good. It's just like being back at grandma's house, right? You got your money in your pocket and you're ready to spend it. But grandma said you can't go outside until you handle your responsibilities. You see what I'm saying? You really need to learn what your money is going towards. That is a responsibility that anybody who's trying to grow their finances, that is something you need to know. What does my money look like? How do I spend my money? And like you said, like, people don't even know. I'll spend $500 a month at Panera on some salad? Like, what are we talking?
You probably only went 3 times, because sometimes they are robbing me.
But you seriously need to learn where your money is spent, how it's being spent, what you spend it on, and where there's areas of improvement. So since we're already here, we're going to dive into our homework. This is what I need from you guys. First, like I said with grandma, you need to go back and do the homework from last week. I need everybody who's watching this now and 7 days from now, because that's when I'll cut it off, from now, today, until 7 days from now. So what's today's date? Today is the 23rd. All right. So until the 2nd of March, right? Right. So until the 2nd of March, I need everybody who's watching this to send me my email. I'll put it up at the end, but my email, ready? Get a pen, get a paper. Because I'm giving out some cash for this one too. I'm giving out gift cards for this one too.
Am I able to do this or no?
No, because I take you to go get hot chocolate and pies anytime you want, so don't do that. But so get a pen and paper, okay, guys? I want you to email me at S as in Sam, E as in elephant, Q as in queen, CEO at gmail.com, okay? S as in Sam, E as in elephant, Q as in queen, CEO at gmail.com. So you have 2 homework assignments, except for Miss Verna, because she finished hers, and they're beautiful. Good job.
And she got a $100 gift card for finishing it. Go, Ms.
Because she finished her homework, and absolutely going to do a follow-up with her in the next 5 days. So Verna, I'm going to be calling you. Talk to you soon. But your homework, so you have to complete your first homework assignment, which was you need 4 short-term goals, okay? 4 goals that you can complete in 21 days, all right? And those goals need to be, 1 needs to be financial, 1 needs to be spiritual, 1 needs to be personal, and 1 needs to be professional, okay? So you need to just, all I need you to do is give me those goals, those 4 goals. And what we'll do is learn to write our vision. I'm going to follow up with everybody who sends me their goals so we can talk through what those goals mean for your long-term vision. So that's your first responsibility.
Personal, professional, spiritual, and what else? Physical?
Huh? Physical. No, personal is physical.
Okay, well, what's the other? Financial.
Financial, spiritual, personal, and professional. Yeah.
Okay.
The second homework is learn your money habits. Brianna actually just gave y'all a very good tool. There are a couple of them out there, and what they do is they just examine all of your financial spending vehicles, right? So your credit cards, your bank statements, your savings account. It just, you let them have access, visual access to it, not financial access to it, but you let them have access to it. And they basically say, this is how you're spending money. And they give you a report back, because unfortunately, a lot of people don't know how their money is being spent. And even if you do know on one particular vehicle, like you use a credit card for travel, so you know how your money is being spent there because you only buy plane tickets on this credit card. A lot of people don't know what that looks like across their spectrum, right? Across all of the mechanisms or all of the vehicles that they utilize to buy goods, trade goods, things like that. So apps like that are really good, are very beneficial. They actually help you better understand how your money is being spent. And you could actually knock out your homework. I'm not like the real teachers, right? I'm not like the teachers back in college. I don't care if you cheat to get this homework done. So if you want to get an app that gives you this information off top, that's fine. But what the homework that I need you to send back to me is, I need to know, outside of your major bills, where is your biggest area of spending? What you spend your money on. And then you need to identify 2 areas, right? You need to stay goal driven, stay in the know, and do not be afraid. All right. So after you identify where your money is being spent, I need you to identify 2 areas where you can actually cut back on, so that we can stay goal driven, so that we can stay in the know, and so that we're not afraid of our finances and how we are utilizing them. So guys, we are at the end of the presentation. I did good, Bree.
You did good. I'm proud of you. We'll have some time for some questions.
Yeah. Great.
So this is how we can get in touch with you. So I have had questions about email. Emailing your presentation. If you will allow us to email, we're going to email the people who joined, who registered and joined on the app, not the ones who are live. We'll give you a couple of tips, but you really need to join the actual webinar for the full printed information. And we're also going to send it out to those who register. So it's not because I only want you to do that, but I can't do it on social media in that way. So I need you to register so I have your information. And so what we're going to do is we will also send the homework questions and a couple of apps from this time and the last time as well, because we had a couple apps that came up, if I remember correctly, like Seeking Alpha. We talked about Clio this time. Robin Hood. I will have to find them. Yeah, but anyway, we're taking a couple of questions right now. Don't forget, we're always going to have good stuff, so don't act like you have to see what the session is to figure it out. I had one person say they were watching and they appreciated it, but things were, more difficult when you're a parent. So I was going to do a parenting session anyway on, how to deal with, how to be a parent, right? And bring in some psychologists, but I'll also see if we can mix some money management tips that are specific for parents, because they have different types of responsibilities weighing on them. So maybe we'll be more specific in that one, but I do have parenting sessions coming up.
A big thing for parents as well is that the good and bad of it is that, you really love your kid. So you do a lot of stuff to not compensate, but just provide and reward your child. And that gives them some really good really feel goods in the moment, right? It doesn't really prepare them for long term. So like maybe you can ask your 10-year-old, you know, what would you rather have, a house, I mean, a building or these shoes? And your 10-year-old will tell you shoes. But your child, when they turn 21 and they get out in the world for their first time, they would definitely like the house. They would, I mean, like how awesome would it be if you gave to your child when they graduated from high school a savings account or a bond that they've had since they were 5 years old? There is never a time that you cannot save, even if it's little. And I think a lot of people feel like, you know, if I put back $1 or $30 a month, well, guess what? At the end of the month, you got money saved. At the end of the year, you have $365 that you did not have before. You can save money. You can always save money. And saving year over year may be less exciting, but if you put that $365, just saving $1 a day, if you put that $365 and you put it away every year, year over year, by the time your child gets out of school, you will be able to pay for their entire college tuition. You'll be able to provide them a place to live, like buy a home or a condo for them. You'll be able to give them things because of the magic, quote unquote, of compound interest. You'll be able to give them things that are amazing and much more substantial than what they've had before. Something that we didn't get into that I really wanted to talk about was cryptocurrencies.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, no, we didn't get into investment like I really wanted us to. This is the thing that I'm going to say to you guys. Investing isn't hard. The Robinhood app is a really good step in the right direction because it gives you information not only about indicators not only about should you buy, sell, or trade, should you purchase the options, all that other stuff. It gives you that opportunity, but it also gives you news. It gives you up to the minute facts, understandings. Like when the companies that I was looking at released their first quarter earnings, that came up on Robinhood, and I was able to actually go in and see their earning potential, what their market share is, things like that, so that I knew I had a better understanding of what I was buying, what stock I was getting myself into, if it's an earner or if it's a slow burner. And same thing with crypto. So like right now, one of the ones that I like a lot, and I'm not telling, let me be very clear, I'm not telling anybody what they should do with their money. I'm telling you what I'm doing with my money. I will, I'm not licensed. I'm getting my licenses though, because I feel like that's a really good step in the next direction. But I'm not licensed to a point where I'm telling people where to put their money at. I'm just telling you things that have worked for me. And it's gotten me to.
She has an investment club that she's locked us out of. But anyway.
I haven't locked anybody out of it. I'm actually going
to open it to new people.
I am opening it up. I'm opening it up. I didn't want to, but not that I didn't want to.
It's just work. It's work.
Yeah, people get really uncomfortable with their money. So I don't like even yesterday, I talked to one of my good homegirls, and she was asking if I would be her financial mentor. And I was like, I would love to. I said, but I want you to know what that means. I'm gonna be in your money, like, and that's major. Like,
I don't need no mentor. Stay out of my money. You could just
exactly. Some people don't want that. Some people do. But what she has 2 beautiful children, and she wants to provide something for them for the legacy. And she has a 1-year-old. And I was like, this, you couldn't have picked a better time to start providing for him. You know what I mean? Not just.
When we heard that a little earlier, like talk about parenting and just all together, because I know some people are like, Brianna, you're giving us these same sucky whack, you know what I mean? Like tips that everybody else, because if I don't have the money, I just don't have the money. I get that. But usually most people are living a life where they can cut something out.
Yes.
Like, I'm able to pay my monthly bills, but I also know spending $268 on cable and internet is ridiculous. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep my internet because I'm a businesswoman, but I'm going to go to direct TV now and stream, because while it's not hurting me, it's not necessary and it's not helping me. And so just like really looking at some of the things that you do. And there's some things you can't cut out. I can't cut out my massages because I have spinal damage. So that can't go anywhere for me because that's about my health. And honestly, they're a little safer than some chiropractors because they don't listen to you. But that means that something else has to go. And so I know it's not easy, but sometimes we have to make the tough decisions now so that we can live easy later. And if
Absolutely.
that means, regular $10 manicures with no dip, no gel, or no acrylic, do it for 12 months until you can get a new skill that allows you to have extra income. So some of it is about making sacrifices. And that's the whole point of doing the Millennial Life Institute. I want to make sure we're not waiting until we're much older and can do less with our money. I want us to be able to adult together and figure things out now to the best of our ability so we can make good moves together. Another thing I'll never forget is when I bought a house. I didn't really want a house, but my sister died. And I wanted to make sure I was leaving my niece and nephew with something just in case something happened to me, right? It gets real when someone dies. But to realize what having a house does to your credit, what it means if you're in a jam because it's building money. I mean, that is like a real big issue. But those are not the reasons I bought a house. I did not buy a house because it would help me later financially if I was ever in a jam, or, when I went to sell. That's not why I did it. I did not think of it as an investment because I didn't really know any better. Let me say, I didn't care. My parents owned a house, but I didn't care about why they did it. I just didn't want to, want the responsibility. But there are little things we can do along the way. So I hope this helps.
Yeah. Another thing really quickly before we get off, I would say if you want to really jump into, and you guys, my email is up here. Please feel free to email me. If we get close enough, I'll give you my number and we can talk about some things. Or you can become a client of mine and we can really work through your finances. And
no DMs, not those kind. Thank
no,
you.
not the DM. Well, maybe a DM, but if it's professional, not
the DMs.
Yeah, not the I want to be your man and we can have an empire DM. Unless you really want to be my man and we can. No, I'm kidding.
Look at that portfolio. No, I'm just kidding.
Right, I look at your portfolio. But if you really have some questions or comments, I don't have a problem. Like, money is out here to be made, and the stocks that I invest in, the opportunities that I have, I can't take them all. I can't. And the stocks, there are hundreds of thousands and millions of stocks that you can buy, and the shares and all that. I don't have a problem with telling people what I'm doing to grow my financial situation. I was really impressed with what I saw with Robinhood, and now I'm telling everybody about it. Like, download it, have it on your.
Wait a minute, I have a question, Robbie.
Yeah.
So Robinhood would not replace, but so I do a Chase brokerage account. So Robinhood would be the same way?
So I don't know what your brokerage account does for you right now. What Robinhood does is it's just a platform for you to buy, trade, and sell stocks, commodities. The level that it gives you, or the level that I like about it, is not only does it do stocks, it also does cryptocurrencies. They just introduced Ethereum on it. I think Ripple's on it. I know Bitcoin's on there. It's like Litecoin is on there, a couple of the really good ones that you can buy automatically. So
do they give you more information, like?
Yeah, and another thing is it has a chat session open, so other people who are telling you about their experiences and what's grown for them, and look out for this because the CEO is announcing today. Another thing about it is it also has like information that comes directly from the company. So you can actually go onto the platform and read news articles about it, get a little bit more in depth. One of the things that I did, and I know we were laughing about getting high off your own supply, but guys, especially in our age group, and I know this is where we're over time, but I really want to get this out. In our age group, it's very hard to be at the beginning of an industry. Okay, so like rail was the beginning of a large transportation industry. Tobacco, that was the beginning of a large
Google.
Right, Microsoft, Google, like Microsoft, Facebook, right? So those are the
Netflix,
industries. And you think about it, when people first got Facebook, who knew that it would be trading on the New York Stock Exchange, but it does. So right now, we are at the beginning of a very big opportunity as far as like in a new industry growing. And I mean, personally, you don't have to smoke it. You don't have to use it. But it's a very big industry that's growing, marijuana. And marijuana stocks are, because it's legal in other places, right? But when America gets a hold of it, it's going to skyrocket. And you have the opportunity to be on the edge of something great, as far as like an industry. Another thing is cryptocurrencies. So people are really uncomfortable about cryptocurrencies, and I completely understand that.
I feel like I'm sending my money into the galaxy. You know, like
well, yeah, it's a lot of ambiguity there because it's supposed to be, but it's also a lot of volatility in that market because it trades all of the time, completely. Like there's not a lot of stability there, which people should not be afraid of, because what's going to happen is I firmly believe blockchain technology is going to be what we base all of our financial dealings with in the future because of the security that's wrapped around it. Right now, people don't really know how to monetize it, and banks are slower to do those type of changes to their infrastructure because it's major, right? It's basically, I'm going to take the entire company and I'm going to change the platform of it. But because of the type of technology that it is, it eventually has to happen.
Cash App now is like Bitcoin. I'm like a Bitcoin. You know, like that's foolishness. But even Cash App has it. I mean, if it's gotten a Cash App, it must be pretty safe.
Well, Chase now does cryptocurrency exchange.
Okay.
So that should let you know that it's gaining some legitimacy. I think once our government finds a way to tax it or monetize it, that it'll grow better. But even if you're uncomfortable with actually investing in those type of currencies, like a lot of people are comfortable with Forex. I'm not as comfortable with Forex, but I get it. I mean, make your money however you want to. Cryptocurrencies are going to be in that same vein. But even if you're not comfortable with putting your money behind cryptocurrency, you should be comfortable enough to put your money behind the technology that fuels it. Blockchain technology. So research about some blockchain technology companies, and whatever they're doing, just stay abreast of it, stay on top of it, and watch if it doesn't blow up in the next 5 years. You'll be amazed. We have a really good opportunity to be on the forefront of some good stuff.
Okay. Sounds good.
That's all I got.
Thanks so much, Robbie. We really appreciate it. We're gonna stay in touch with you. You'll probably come back soon enough. But thank you so much. Don't forget the homework, everybody. Don't forget the opportunity to win another gift card. Congratulations again to Miss Verna for winning the 100.
Congratulations, Verna.
Yes. So watch out for the next flyer that will come. It happens every last Saturday of the month. We want to give you the best you have to give. I want us to adult together and just like really be our best selves. So if you have any questions, you can see me at www.blackmillennialcafe.com. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You can probably put a bird in the sky, whatever you need. I'm Brianna Parker. I'm the founding curator of the Black Millennial Cafe, and I'm the director of the nonprofit, which is Relevant Resources. So if there's anything you feel like you want to add to it, if there's any way you feel like you want to donate or help or sponsor, we're down for that too. If you feel like you're expert in a certain area that's necessary to help us to adult, please go ahead and contact me. But seriously, you have to like really know what you're doing. So that we make sure we're giving people great information. But other than that, I'm going to see you on the last Saturday of March, and we're going to have a good time together and learn a ton. I think the next month is going to be about branding. So we're going to come out of financial investing and say we're going to go into how to monetize your gifts so that you